Likely you've just stopped tweeting your love and or hate for the Game of Thrones finale, and now I'm gonna drop this one on you. Your customers can now delete their history, their offline history from Facebook. What does that mean? But before we talk about that, we got to go backwards because they made this announcement, not this F8, but last F8, coming out of Cambridge Analytica and GDPR. And let's focus on GDPR very quickly and very specifically. The goal of GDPR, which is a law in the European Union, is the ability for a consumer to be forgotten. And this is Facebook's answer on how you can be forgotten. As a user on Facebook, you've already been able to look at your interests and adjust them and say, okay, if Facebook thinks I'm into glasses and I already bought glasses, I can adjust how that interest goes so I can get more relevant ads served to me. You've already been able to clear your searches. Have you done either of those things? How many of your customers do you think regularly go into their user preferences and check out not only their privacy settings, but clear their search history, clear their user history, and adjust their interests? The answer is about 4%. Okay, for this next part, I'm gonna need you to sit down. We've got to relax because a lot of marketers right now are freaking out and thinking, okay, my pixel doesn't matter anymore. My remessaging doesn't matter anymore. Everything that's happening on Facebook doesn't matter anymore because now the consumer can clear their history, their offline history. Okay, for a second, let's live in a world where everybody's deleting everything all the time. Why would they do that? Well, one, they would start to have terrible experiences with ads because it would serve them things that don't make any sense. So if you're a 20-year-old single male, you would get diaper ads, which seems like it would be insanity, but that's what would happen. So you're probably not going to see that happen. Two, they might want to remove their data if you are continually messaging them either the same creative over and over and over again, bad creative, bad messaging, or bad remessaging. And three, the content that you're giving to them is not relevant to them, so they want to get out of your ecosystem. So if we're breaking the promise to our consumer, we're not serving them things that are relevant to them or useful to them, that might be a reason why that 4% jumps to 5% or to 6%. But by and large, they're not going to delete everything all the time because it will ruin the experience on Facebook for them. However, we should all be prepared for the changes because in the digital ecosystem, that's the only constant. Changes. And so if we're dealing with offline data, which is why I've said offline data 7 times in this video, so that you understand we're not dealing with data directly on Facebook. So what can you do? You can start to adjust your remessaging campaigns and your customer funnels to focus on being on Facebook when you're using Facebook and off Facebook when you don't need to be there. Well, that goes back to content. So for example, if you are running the Michigan's Best page and we served a video to everybody who's following the Michigan's Best page, well, we might go, let's take that audience, and when they watch that video, then they get this piece of content. And then after they get this piece of content, we go back down and we serve them a lead ad because we want to put them in a newsletter. And then once we put them in the newsletter, then we're going to move them to the website. So we stayed on Facebook a lot longer using all of the Facebook data. And then when we're ready, we know what we're doing, we're moving them to the website. Ultimately, guys, this is not the apocalypse. This is not the end of advertising on Facebook. We've said it a couple times in the last month. 93% of their advertising comes from mobile ads on Facebook. So they're not trying to turn that off. What they're trying to do is add transparency, which will help them in their cases here in the United States with the FTC and overseas with GDPR. And we suffer from that for sure. But the thing that we have to think about is go back to some universal concepts of paid, earned, and owned. What sort of content do you own so no matter where it ends up, you can serve it to your audience? So let's think about not being beholden to what Facebook does, but reacting to when Facebook changes. And when Facebook changes, we're ready because we made some content that we can put in that particular instance. All right, at the end of this week, we've got more cool stuff happening on Instagram, which probably will brighten up your week. Until then, though, as always, it's Eric at mlive.com.